What if a disease could kill up to 90% of the people it infects, spread through a single touch, and bring entire countries to a standstill? This is not fiction. This is Ebola, one of the deadliest viruses in human history. And its story begins in Africa. Today, we uncover how Ebola started, how it spread, and how humanity fought back against one of its greatest biological threats. The story of Ebola begins in 1976, in a small village called Yambuku, in what is now the Democratic Republic of the Congo. People started falling sick, high fever, weakness, and bleeding. At first, no one understood what was happening. Then, it spread rapidly. Around the same time, another outbreak appeared in Sudan. Scientists were dealing with something completely new, a deadly virus. They named it after a nearby river, the Ebola River. And just like that, one of the world's most feared diseases was discovered. But Ebola did not just appear out of nowhere. It came from nature. Ebola is a zoonotic disease, meaning it spreads from animals to humans. Scientists believe the natural carriers are fruit bats. These bats carry the virus without getting sick. But when humans come into contact with infected animals like bats, monkeys, or chimpanzees, the virus jumps. And once it enters human society, it becomes deadly. Unlike malaria, Ebola does not spread through mosquitoes. It spreads through direct contact. Blood, sweat, saliva, vomit. Even touching contaminated surfaces can spread it. This makes it extremely dangerous in hospitals, homes, and even funerals. In many African traditions, people wash and touch the bodies of loved ones. But with Ebola, even the dead can spread the virus. Fast forward to 2014. West Africa faced the largest Ebola outbreak in history. It started in Guinea, then spread to Sierra Leone and Liberia. This time, it was not just rural villages. Ebola reached cities. Air travel, crowded populations, and weak healthcare systems made it worse. The result? Over 28,000 infections and more than 11,000 deaths. The world was watching, and for the first time, Ebola became a global threat. Ebola was not just dangerous, it was difficult to control. Why? Because of fear. Misinformation spread faster than the virus. Some people believed the disease was fake. Others thought doctors were causing deaths, and many feared hospitals. People hid sick relatives. Some even ran away from treatment centers. And this allowed Ebola to spread even further. But slowly, things began to change. Health workers introduced strict measures. Patients were isolated. Contacts were traced and monitored for 21 days. Special burial teams handled the dead safely. Communities were educated. And then came the breakthrough: vaccines. The Ervebo vaccine helped protect those at risk using a method called ring vaccination. At the same time, new treatments like Inmazeb and Ibanga improved survival rates. For the first time, Ebola was no longer unstoppable. Today, Ebola still exists, but Africa is better prepared. Countries now have rapid response teams, better hospitals, and faster diagnosis. Outbreaks are detected earlier and controlled faster. But the risk remains. Because as long as humans interact with nature, Ebola can return. Ebola is more than just a disease. It is a lesson. A lesson about nature, about fear, and about the power of science and unity. From a small village in Africa to a global crisis, Ebola changed the world forever. If you found this story powerful, do not forget to like, subscribe, and share, because knowledge like this can save lives.